I'm too old to learn that. How many times have you caught yourself saying these words? At 65, 70, or beyond, it's easy to believe our learning days are behind us. But what if I told you that your brain is still capable of mastering new skills regardless of your age? Remember Sarah, who learned piano at 78? Like her, your brain forms new connections throughout life. The barriers to learning aren't your age, they're mental roadblocks you might not recognize. 5 psychological barriers quietly limit what you believe possible. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to identify and break through each one. Have you ever told yourself, "I'm just too old to learn that"? You're not alone. This belief affects nearly 70% of adults over 65. It's a thought that creeps in when you see a new smartphone feature, consider taking up painting, or think about learning a language you've always admired. But here's something remarkable. This widely accepted truth about aging brains isn't actually true at all. Our society has crafted a powerful myth that learning has an expiration date. Television, movies, and casual conversations reinforce this idea with jokes about seniors struggling with technology or forgetting information. These cultural messages leave many feeling their cognitive abilities are in permanent decline after a certain age. But what does science say about this prevalent belief? The evidence directly contradicts these aging stereotypes. Researchers at Stanford and MIT have documented how our brains continue to form new neural pathways throughout our entire lives. This ability, called neuroplasticity, is your brain's capacity to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections, even in your 80s and 90s. The key factor isn't age. It's whether your brain receives proper stimulation. Dr. Michael Merzenich, a leading neuroscientist who pioneered research on brain plasticity, explains, "Your brain is always changing chemically, structurally, and functionally. It never stops. The changes are sometimes for better, sometimes for worse, but your brain is always being rewired and revised." This understanding overturns the outdated brain decay model many grew up believing. While some aspects of cognition change with age, like processing speed or working memory, other areas improve. Vocabulary, emotional regulation, pattern recognition, and wisdom derived from life experience strengthen as we age. Certain problem-solving abilities peak in later life because they benefit from decades of accumulated knowledge. A study from the Journal of Gerontology demonstrated this remarkably. Researchers followed older adults learning complex skills like digital photography and quilting. Participants who engaged in these mentally challenging activities showed memory improvements matching the cognitive abilities of people 30 years younger. Consistent mental stimulation can partially reverse age cognitive decline. Consider Martha Williamson, who at 72 taught herself computer programming after never touching a computer before retirement. "Everyone told me I was too old and that technology was for young people," she recalls, "but I was fascinated by coding and decided to try it anyway." Within 2 years, Martha had developed 3 mobile apps that helped seniors manage medications and stay connected with family. The real barriers to learning aren't biological, they're psychological mindsets, creating artificial limitations. These mental roadblocks include beliefs like, "I'm too slow," or "It's not worth starting something new at my age." Understanding these obstacles is the first step to breaking through them and reclaiming your natural learning abilities. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality more than we realize. When you see an 80-year-old taking up piano or coding, do you think, "They must have special talent," or "That could be me with practice"? Your answer reveals something profound about your mindset that psychologist Carol Dweck has been studying for decades, and it might be the invisible force determining your learning potential in these golden years. This mental framework is what Dweck calls a fixed versus growth mindset, and it represents the first major psychological barrier many seniors face when approaching new skills. A fixed mindset operates from the belief that your abilities are carved in stone. You either have natural talent or you don't. Comments like, "I've never been good with technology," create mental walls around your potential, becoming self-fulfilling prophecies. You avoid situations where you might fail, never develop the skill, and reinforce your original belief, much like locking a door and throwing away the key. The alternative, a growth mindset, sees abilities as qualities you can cultivate through effort. Challenges become opportunities, mistakes become valuable feedback, and age becomes just another variable rather than a limitation. Take Martha, 73, who'd always said she couldn't understand computers. When her grandchildren moved across the country, she faced a choice: remain disconnected or challenge her assumptions. Though initially frustrated, she approached video calling with patience, viewing each error as a step forward rather than proof of inability. Within weeks, she was confidently connecting with family, not because her ability changed, but because her mindset did. This distinction is critical for seniors. Studies show that older adults with growth mindsets experience tangible benefits beyond learning new hobbies. They recover faster from health setbacks, display greater resilience with age changes, and report higher life satisfaction. The mindset difference even affects how others perceive your capabilities. Research from Purdue Global shows that in growth mindset environments, people are rated as more innovative, collaborative, and committed to development. Transitioning from fixed to growth thinking takes conscious effort. Start by monitoring your internal dialogue. When you catch yourself using fixed language, reframe it by adding one powerful word, yet. Instead of, "I'm not good at this," try, "I'm not good at this yet." Focus on the learning process rather than outcomes, celebrate small steps, embrace mistakes as learning opportunities, and actively seek feedback rather than avoiding it. For many seniors, finding a mentor can accelerate this mindset shift. A mentor who champions continuous development provides perspective and encouragement when facing inevitable learning plateaus, guiding you through the open doorway to new possibilities. Remember that even people with predominantly growth mindsets don't maintain that perspective in all situations. The key is recognizing these patterns and gently challenging the areas where fixed thinking has taken root. That uncomfortable feeling when you stare at a new device, unsure where to even begin, isn't just frustration, it's your brain processing unfamiliar territory. For many seniors, this discomfort runs deeper than simple confusion. There's something uniquely challenging about suddenly becoming a novice after decades of competence and mastery in your field. This fear of looking incompetent activates the same neural pathways as physical pain, according to brain scans, making it a genuine barrier that keeps many adults over 65 from pursuing new skills. The solution to this challenge lies in a concept from Zen Buddhism called beginner's mind. This approach encourages viewing new experiences with openness, curiosity, and without preconceived judgments. Rather than seeing yourself as someone who should already know things, you intentionally embrace the beginner's status, finding freedom in exploration rather than focusing solely on results. Consider stepping onto a stage for the first time after decades of being in the audience. Your legs shake, your mouth goes dry, and suddenly all your confidence evaporates. This abrupt shift from comfortable expert to vulnerable novice creates profound psychological resistance. When you've spent most of your life as the knowledgeable one, the person others came to for answers, this role reversal threatens your self-image. Most seniors don't explicitly think, "I'm afraid of looking foolish." Instead, they create reasonable-sounding excuses. "I don't really need to learn that," or "technology just isn't my thing." These protective responses prevent discomfort, but also block potential growth that could significantly enhance your later years. Watching teenagers effortlessly navigate new technology, or seeing someone 50 years your junior master in minutes what might take you weeks, can intensify feelings of inadequacy. This comparison trap leads many seniors to avoid group learning environments altogether, limiting opportunities for growth and connection. Remember that this fear affects learners of all ages. The difference is that seniors have decades of expertise to contrast it with, making the beginner stage feel more jarring. Remarkable achievements remain possible later in life. Grandma Moses began painting at 78, Colonel Sanders started Kentucky Fried Chicken at 65, and Frank McCourt published his Pulitzer Prize-winning Angela's Ashes at 66. These aren't exceptions. They're evidence that age is no barrier to new beginnings. Practical strategies can ease this transition. Start learning in private or with peers at similar skill levels. Many senior centers offer courses specifically designed for older adults, removing intergenerational comparisons. Approach learning as playful exploration rather than serious achievement, and break complex tasks into smaller steps to reduce overwhelm. Celebrate small victories. Sending your first text message, completing your first watercolor, or speaking your first sentence in a new language. Focus on improvement rather than perfection, remembering that every expert was once a beginner. The power of community in learning doesn't just enhance the experience, it transforms it entirely. While celebrating your progress is valuable, research shows seniors learning in community settings actually master new skills 32% faster than those who go it alone. This striking difference impacts whether you'll persevere when challenges arise or abandon your learning journey altogether. Many seniors make the critical mistake of approaching new skills in isolation. Maybe you've done this yourself, sitting alone with a new tablet, struggling through online tutorials without anyone to ask for help. Or perhaps you've tried teaching yourself a musical instrument, feeling discouraged when progress seems slow. This isolation creates a significant obstacle. It makes the learning process more difficult and eliminates the emotional support that makes learning sustainable. When you encounter a roadblock while learning alone, there's no one to help you troubleshoot, laugh with about mistakes, or celebrate small victories. Each obstacle feels insurmountable. Consider Martha, who struggled for months to learn digital photography by herself. After joining a seniors camera club, she mastered composition techniques in just weeks. The difference? She had peers who offered both technical advice and emotional encouragement when she felt frustrated. The psychological impact is profound. When facing the natural frustrations of mastering something new, whether it's digital photography, a foreign language, or watercolor painting, a supportive community creates a buffer against giving up. They normalize your struggles, offer alternative approaches, and encourage you when motivation wanes. This community support directly counteracts the age barriers we discussed earlier, especially the "I'm too old for this" mentality. When you see your 75-year-old neighbor mastering smartphone photography or your 82-year-old friend learning Spanish, those limiting beliefs crumble in the face of living proof. Scientific evidence confirms this approach works. Seniors in learning communities report higher satisfaction, demonstrate better information retention, and experience significantly increased confidence. That spills over into other areas of life. The Connect, Practice, Reflect framework structures this community approach beautifully, like assembling a puzzle with friends rather than alone. Connect establishes relationships, providing accountability and encouragement. Practice involves regular engagement with both the skill and your learning companions. Reflect encourages thoughtful assessment through discussion with community members who offer valuable perspectives. Finding these communities is straightforward. Senior centers, community colleges, online forums, and local libraries frequently offer classes or host informal meetups. If you can't find an existing group, consider creating one. Even 2 or 3 friends learning together can provide the necessary social support. These learning communities offer remarkable flexibility. It might be structured classes or casual coffee shop gatherings, focused on rigorous skill development or relaxed exploration. The essential element is having others alongside you, people who understand both the challenges and joys of acquiring new abilities later in life. Having the right community is just the beginning of your learning journey. What happens next might be the difference between frustrating dead ends and genuine progress. Those educational methods you relied on decades ago, they could actually be sabotaging your learning potential today. The approach that once helped you succeed in school might be precisely what's making new skills feel impossible to grasp now. Here's what's happening. Most of us went through school. Education followed a predictable pattern, long study sessions where we passively absorbed information, then regurgitated it for tests. This outdated approach creates genuine obstacles for learning after 65. Instead of these ineffective marathon sessions, research shows that spaced practice and multisensory learning align perfectly with how your brain processes information now. Rather than fighting against your brain's natural rhythms, these methods work with them. Think about the last time you tried to learn something new. Did you set aside a large block of time, planning to focus until you mastered it? Did you primarily read about it or watch demonstrations? When it didn't click immediately, did you assume your brain couldn't process new information like before? This pattern leads many seniors to abandon learning efforts prematurely. The problem isn't your brain, it's your approach. Your brain processes information differently now, requiring learning methods that align with these changes. Marathon learning sessions create cognitive fatigue that's particularly pronounced in older adults, making retention nearly impossible. Spaced practice works better. Short, focused learning sessions with breaks in between. A 20-30-minute focused session followed by a genuine break allows your neural pathways to strengthen without exhaustion. Think of it as interval training for your brain rather than an exhausting marathon. Moving from passive to active learning is equally crucial. Your brain needs to directly engage with material to create lasting connections. Seniors benefit enormously from immediately applying new knowledge rather than just absorbing it. The multisensory approach strengthens this further. When you engage multiple senses simultaneously, seeing, hearing, and physically doing something, you create redundant pathways in your brain, making information easier to retrieve later. Try implementing the 3-2-1 method. 3 20-minute learning sessions daily with breaks in between. Do this for 2 consecutive days, then take 1 day off to allow your brain to consolidate what you've learned. This structured approach shows remarkable results, specifically for older learners. Consider Martha, who struggled for months with digital photography by reading manuals cover to cover. When she switched to shorter practice sessions with immediate application, her progress accelerated dramatically. I stopped treating learning like a marathon and started treating it like interval training, she explains. It completely changed what I thought was possible at my age. These brain-friendly methods work for any subject, whether you're learning a language, mastering technology, or picking up an instrument. We've talked about several barriers that might be holding you back, but here's something we haven't covered yet. Lifelong learning is actually a powerful strategy for maintaining your cognitive health. Recent research shows a strong correlation between continued learning and improved memory and processing speed. Learning new things in your senior years significantly boosts mental well-being and fosters purpose after retirement. Remember our 3-step framework: identify interests, create a learning plan, and build consistent habits. The skills themselves become secondary to the profound benefits the learning process brings. But untapped potential is waiting within you. Start today. Learning isn't optional, it's essential medicine for your mind.